But so often, marketing is the first thing that falls off our to-do list when we think about everything that we need to do in our business. But it is so important to be able to bring new people in, right? And in order to do that, your marketing strategy needs to be on point.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Seriously in Business podcast, the podcast for all things branding, design, marketing, and business strategy. And every second week I have an interview. So we kind of rotate between guest interviews with business experts that are going to help you to grow your business, and also solo episodes from yours truly, Jacqui Naunton, who is going to help you learn all things branding, design, and how you can DIY your own incredible branding graphics. And so today's incredible special guest is Hazel. Hazel is from Hey Hazel, and we had the opportunity of meeting each other in a program that we're in together, and Hazel's like, hey, should we do a podcast? And I was like, heck yes, we should do a podcast. And I'm so glad I said yes, because what Hazel has to share with you is incredible, and I'm so excited for you to hear it. And so if you don't know Hazel, Hazel is a corporate marketer of 10 years turned marketing and business coach for ambitious entrepreneurs looking to scale to multi-six figures and beyond using her strategy, systems, and framework. She founded her coaching company, Hey Hazel, which has helped her clients book out their business, have their highest cash months and years, leave their 9-to-5, and most importantly, create thriving, easeful, authentic online businesses. She is also the creator and host of top charting podcast, the Self Makers podcast, which I just featured on as well. So if you want to head over to the Self Makers podcast and listen to our episode together, you will incredibly love that one. So in this episode, Hazel and I chat about how you can find your soulmate clients on your social media platform so that you can have clients that are going to really enjoy working with you and that you enjoy working with you. We're going to chat about how you can attract rather than just find the ideal client, and how you can create content that actually converts and attracts the right kind of people. So lean into this one. I know you're going to love it. Let's dig in. Yay. So welcome, Hazel, to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Oh, hey, Jacqui. Thank you so much for having me. I am delighted to be here.
Now, if you are listening to this right now and you want to jump over to Hazel's podcast, yes, she also has one. We've just finished recording an episode on hers that is released a few days before this one has been released. So feel free to check that out, because we had a lot of fun chatting about branding and design over there. But I'm really excited for today's chat with Hazel. It's going to be all around. I'm not going to give it away, actually. I've already given away in the intro. So let's get into chatting about, I would love to know, I just really love to know what other people's businesses look like and their life looks like outside of what I see on Instagram. So could you let me know what like your ultimate day of life and business kind of looks like for you, from like the get-go to the going to bed?
I love this question so much, because it's something that I think about all the time and intentionally change all the time as well. So thank you for asking me this. So at the moment, what I'm loving is I wake up around like 5 a.m. and I will have a little medi. Also, I should add in that I do not have children. So I am completely solo vibes. Me and my husband, I pretty much do whatever I want at all times. So I do want to caveat that. If you're like, how does Hayes have the time to do all this? That is how. I wake up, do some meditation, perhaps I'll journal or read a book. I like having a really slow start to my morning. I don't like waking up and being like, the day is happening. I kind of like easing intentionally into it. And then at 6, I will go work out, come back, have some brekkie, and either every day I'll check in on Slack with my clients, see how they're going. And then I will either coach, or I will like jump on a coaching call with one of my clients, or perhaps I will work on some content or work on some emails, something like that. Build some relationships with any of my leads that I have or anyone that I want to check in on. And then I'll have some lunch. At the moment, we're living in Noosa. So what my day has been looking like is we go to the beach and have some lunch there and have a swim. And it's just been divine. And then I will come back, do a few bits and bobs that I was working on before. Every day kind of looks different for me. So and I've kind of done it intentionally that way, because I'm the kind of person that doesn't like doing the same thing every single day. And then I will stop working at some point. Sometimes that's like 3, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5, depending on what I'm feeling like or what I have on. And we'll have some dinner and we'll read and go to bed at like 9. That's kind of like the perfect day for me. Just chill.
That's cool. I always love knowing when people go to bed, especially if they're early risers. I'm like, you can't be going to bed at 10 or 11, can you? So 9 sounds really reasonable.
Oh no, I am definitely an 8 hours sleep kind of person. That is, I am a grandma and I embrace that.
You kind of need to, hey. Yeah, it just makes everything so much easier when you just got enough sleep. So cool. Thank you for sharing that. I love that insight into your life. And yeah, I'd definitely go to the beach and stuff for lunch if I lived close to that too. So why not take advantage of that while you're there? So could you just let us in a little bit on your business's journey? I know we were talking about this before the podcast. You haven't been running your business for forever. And so I'd love to know your journey of how you kind of got to where you are now in business.
Yes. So I am quite proud of how quickly my business has grown and also quite grateful for it. But I do want to caveat this by saying, yes, my business did grow fast, but for a lot of people, it isn't the case. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And also off the back of that, I've had about 11 years experience working in marketing as well. So I know that it's fun to hear, wow, she grew her business in such a short amount of time, but I also just want to alleviate that pressure that anyone might feel that is the best way, or that is the only way. So my story, where do I even begin? So I worked in corporate and ad agencies and startups in marketing, and I was kind of working up the corporate ladder, right? I got into the highest kind of rank in what I was doing in marketing. And I got there and I thought, okay, like what's next? What do I do? Do I go to another company and be a marketing manager there and then just keep going over and over again to different companies? It just didn't feel aligned to me. I didn't feel like that's what I wanted to do or that lit me up. I felt like there was more. I wanted to make more of an impact. And I was working with clients and with brands that were multi-million dollars. And I was reaching so many people every single day. I managed a team. It was a lot. It was very exciting. It was very fast paced, but I missed having that connection. There's a difference between working with millions of people versus working with like one person, right? And that's what I love. That's why I got into marketing in the first place, is that connection piece. And so I thought, my business kind of very gratefully started from a mix of desire and demand. Like I was posting about marketing on Instagram. I knew that I wanted to explore being a coach, and I had people asking me, can you help me? Can you be my coach? And I was like, yes, of course. I know how to do this. And so when I started, it was just like something clicked inside of me. And I realized that, yes, this is exactly what I need to be doing. This is exactly, I'm really good at this. People ask me about this all the time, and I can help people. And I saw that happening and playing out before me. And so I created a framework that I use to help me succeed, which is my self-strategy systems framework. And I started using that on my clients, and I realized, wow, this is replicable. Like this actually works. I can use what I use to help other people too. And so that is what I'm doing now. So at the moment, I have a one-to-one coaching program, and I also have a mastermind where I help my clients with their marketing. And it absolutely lights me up, living the dream. My clients are getting incredible results, and I just couldn't be happier. So that's my Cliff Notes version.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. I love your story there, and how it kind of just almost naturally evolved as you're like, I'm not feeling this side, but then I'm getting asked around this stuff. So let's just lean in over here and watch it take off, which is so cool. Like, yeah, it's definitely not the norm for something to take off so quickly as what it has happened, but so fun to be able to celebrate that at the same time. Be like, look, this is really fun too. And I'm just so grateful for how this has exploded. So congratulations. That's really, really exciting. That's so fun. That's so fun. Okay. So you're a little bit of like social media and marketing are some of the things that you are really, really great at and really passionate about. And so I wanted to kind of dig in on that area a little bit. And firstly, ask you, does it matter the kind of people that follow us? Like, should we care about big numbers, or should we care about the certain sort of person, or should we just be happy if even bots are following us because it's numbers? What should we be focusing on growing our Instagram with in terms of the kind of people that we draw in?
So In my opinion, and I know that a lot of people won't agree with me on this, but I know that a lot of people will, is that having a big number of followers is not the most important thing. Yes, it is nice for some credibility. Like, yes, I call it a vanity metric, right? People come, they see it, they're like, cool, she has a lot of followers, or they have a lot of followers, must be credible, right? There's no denying that people do think that. But having a lot of followers does not mean that you're going to make a lot of money or any money, right? Unless you're reaching the right kind of people. So that is why you want to have a really good marketing strategy in place and a really good content marketing strategy in place so that you're reaching the right kind of people. Because when you reach that right kind of person, they are the kind of people who will want to work with you, who'll be sliding into your DMs and saying, yes, I really want to work with you. Tell me more about what you're doing. And that is part of how my business took off so quickly as well. As I was very intentional about my marketing strategy. And so I was able to attract dream clients kind of quite quickly because I knew exactly who I was speaking to. And when you're very intentional about that, your dream clients will come your way.
Amazing. Yeah, you're so right. Like when we if you have, for example, on my YouTube channel, for those of you watching YouTube, hi, when like I've grown so quickly on that. We're nearly at 10,000 subscribers, but I know that not all of those people are my dream client. But for those people that are, then it's just really exciting because they're there and they're the ones that are actually going to buy my course and actually work with me and actually get to know them, and actually becomes really, really fun and like a two-way relationship rather than just people following you that don't really care about what you're doing, or that are likely to unfollow you because then you're not actually delivering what they actually want or care about, because they're not your ideal kind of person or client or the right kind of person, as you kind of have phrased it. And so how do we make sure that we can draw in that right kind of person? How can we attract them to work with us? I'm sure you've got a few different ideas here. So just like go to town, give us everything. And let's learn how we can attract the right kind of person to our Instagram.
Great. I will tell you how to. And I just wanted to add as well, not only do we want to attract people who are going to convert and work with us, but also if we're running our own business and we're purpose-led entrepreneurs, which I assume a lot of the people who are listening to this absolutely are, then we want to absolutely love the clients that we're working with, right? We want them to feel super aligned. We want to show up on our calls and be so excited to work with them. That's half the fun, right? So another reason why we want to attract those dream clients. So in terms of how to attract those dream clients through marketing, the first thing that I want to speak to is a little bit of a mindset shift. And I'm going to speak to some tactical, actionable steps that you can take after this. But the first thing that I want to speak to is reframing the way that we speak about finding clients, because a lot of people say to me, I need to find clients. I just need to find the right clients. I need to make money. I need to find clients. And the thing is, you don't need to find clients. You don't need to walk out your front door and try to find clients, right? That's not what we're doing. We want to attract them. So let's think about our marketing as an attraction tool and not as a finding tool. Let's hold the energy of like attraction, because I find that when we show up in marketing and we have that vibe of like, I need to find clients, we're really putting out a vibe of scarcity. And that is, people can feel that. Trust me, people can feel that. So you don't want to show up like you need to find clients or you need them to sign with you. You want to be running your business from a place of feeling like you're just going to attract those right kind of clients, and you know that they're on their way and they're coming, and it's just a matter of time. Because when you think about people like, first people who are popping into my mind right now was like Tony Robbins or like Oprah, right? They're so magnetic and you just want to be in their energy. And part of that is because they're coming from a place of, I am me. I know that I'm incredible. I know that the services that I offer are amazing. That's coming through from every touch point that you have with them. And that makes you want to be in their energy because they're in that place of overflow. So what I would recommend, first of all, is just leaning into that abundance and feeling, that you can attract those dream people your way. And something that might be coming up for you here is, Hazel, that's great for Tony Robbins because he's a millionaire and it's easy for him to feel abundant. And what I would encourage you to think about here is, instead of thinking, I I need to have money to feel abundant. There is lots of things that you can utilize in order to feel abundant. It could be, an abundance of friends and family and love. It could be an abundance of time. It could be anything, right? So that feeling people are going to feel into that. So lean into that. People will want to be in your energy. So first tip is reframe finding clients to attracting clients, and do that by holding the energy of abundance. It might sound, very spiritual to some people, but energy is real. People can feel your energy. And I 100% know that if I hadn't started my business from a place of, I've got this, I know exactly what I'm doing, then my clients wouldn't have been like, I want to work with you. They would have, not felt that.
Yeah, that's so good.
So number 2 is find your niche and know what your USP is, right? So let's speak to finding your niche. So this is a bit of a controversial topic because a lot of people have differing opinions about whether you should have a niche or not. And it's my belief, based on my clients' results and on my results, that choosing a niche is so helpful in order for you to find your ideal customer. So, for example, saying that you're a photographer is not enough, right? That's not a niche. That's what you do, which is awesome. Or saying that you're a nutritionist is great. But what kind of nutritionist are you? Who do you help? Do you work with women specifically? Do you help them with their hormones? Like, what is the transformation that they receive at the end of working with you? And the clearer you are about that, the better. And what this does is, it helps you with a few things. So first of all, it's super helpful for you when you're creating content because you're really clear on your messaging, and people will see that and see themselves in that, and they'll be like, yep, cool. I know exactly who you are and who you help me with. And yeah, it helps your ideal client know that they are the people that should be working with you. So because they'll see that in your content, they'll see that in your bio, in how you describe yourself and who you help. So a quick example of this is, say that you're a nutritionist and you're helping women with their hormones, for example. So if you are a woman who is having hormonal issues, are you going to choose a nutritionist who says, I am a nutrition specialist? Or are you going to choose a nutritionist who is like, I'm a woman's hormonal nutritionist who helps you transform your hormones from tired to thriving? Like, which one sounds better, right? Like straight away, you're like, oh, I need to work with that second one, right? Even though they might be doing the exact same thing. So this is why niching yourself is so important, and finding that special magic of what you do and who you are and making that come through your content is so important.
Yeah, 100% agree with this one. I think I used a similar analogy in a couple of episodes ago. I was like, you can go to, if you had curly hair, you can go to any hairdresser and they might do an okay job. But if you saw there was someone that advertised themselves as a curly hair specialist, you'd be like, oh, hands down going to that person. Like, it's just a no-brainer. And so heading to that direction and being super clear about what you do, and like, not being afraid to niche down. I think people get scared of niching down because they think it's going to deter a whole other group of people. And while that might be true, there is plenty of people in your niche that are going to then run to you rather than just be like, oh, they're your biggest fans now because you are just so clearly serving them.
Absolutely. And it's good to repel people. We want to do that. We don't want to work with people who aren't aligned with us. So if they are repelled, then awesome. They weren't your ideal client. That's good. And also knowing that if somebody did want to speak with you and they didn't want hormone help, for example, but they did want to work with you, then you still can, you're the CEO, you can decide if you want to work with them or not. So it's not cut and dry. We can play with things there.
Absolutely. And you mentioned USPs.
Yes. So USP. So if you didn't want to niche down based on who you help, another thing that you could do is speak to your USP. So a USP is a marketing term that stands for unique selling point, or your unique selling proposition. And this is what you have, or a way that you do things that helps differentiate you from other people in your industry. So for example, you could figure out what your USP is by asking yourself questions like, what do I do or sell that others in my industry do not? Or what do my customers want or need from me and my services? Or what is it that I do really well? And then you can start mapping out your USP. So say, for example, an example that I like to give is, say that you're a photographer and you want to work with all sorts of people. You don't want to niche down by only working in weddings, for example. So perhaps you position yourself as a photographer who captures really candid moments really authentically. So you're speaking to your USP and what you do really well, which is I capture candid moments and helps you feel really authentic and seen in your photos rather than who you help. So that's tip number 2.
Love that. Haven't really thought about that in that way, but I totally agree. That makes so much sense. Yeah.
So tip number 3 is creating content that converts. So we all know that in order to attract your ideal client, you need to be visible. But so often, marketing is the first thing that falls off our to-do list when we think about everything that we need to do in our business. But it is so important to be able to bring new people in, right? And in order to do that, your marketing strategy needs to be on point. And the key piece of a good marketing strategy is your content. So get really clear on where you're spending your time in creating your content, and do this really intentionally. So we should always have content. We should always be posting content that is attracting your ideal client, first of all, that is warming them up, and content that is selling to them. So if you do not have each of these points covered in your content strategy, then you have a little bit of a hole in your content strategy where your dream clients might be falling out from, okay? So you could be posting like multiple times a day or multiple times a week, but if your content strategy is not there and you're not covering all of those points, then perhaps you're not being able to convert those ideal people because you're not covering all of those touch points. And we don't want to post just for the sake of posting, because we spend a lot of time on our content, as I'm sure everybody who was listening to this does. So how can we make your content so that it's really hitting home? You're reaching people, you're warming them up, you're selling to them, right? So a really easy kind of starting point that I recommend people take when they're creating their content is building a content strategy around the buyer's journey. So there is a lot more that we could talk about this. There is a lot more strategy that we can go into, but for the sake of the time that we have, and for you to be able to listen to this podcast, leave with like actionable tips of, yes, okay, I'm going to implement these things into my content strategy right now to sign dream clients, is we want to create content for each stage of the buyer's journey. So let's say the first phase of the buyer's journey. So buyer's journey basically just means how somebody goes from being a cold lead to being a client, right? So your prospect starts in the awareness phase. So they're experiencing a problem and they're doing some research about what exactly their problem is. So when they're in that phase, we want to be posting content like reels, for example, where we know get a lot of reach at the moment. So things that we know that people are that's going to reach new people, and they're going to make them really problem aware and be like, oh, okay, like I do have that problem. I might check this person out. So we're consistently inviting new people into our audience. The second phase is the consideration phase. So these people, they know what their problem is and they know what the solution might be. So they're looking for what is available to them for them to be able to solve their problem. So they're further along the buyer's journey. They know that they've got a problem. So you want to be creating content that is really valuable, right? That's really informative. So you're really building that trust and positioning yourself as an expert and as an authority. So for example, something like a carousel, like 5 tips on how to XYZ. And you can do that in Reels too, for example. So for the sake of simplicity, that's one example. And then the last step of the buyer's journey is they're at the point where they want to make a decision. They're like, it's crunch time. I know my problem. I know I'm considering the people that are going to help me. And so at this point in the buyer's journey, things like selling to people on your your Instagram stories is gold. Inviting people into your world, converting them, getting people into your DMs and selling to them there. So you want to be, to summarize, you want to be creating content that's going to raise awareness to cold leads, things like reels. You want to be creating content that moves them into the consideration phase. So you're really positioning yourself as an authority. And also you want to be posting content that converts them. And we want to be doing that consistently. I find that a lot of people will only post one type of content, only funny reels, for example. And the reason why that wouldn't work is because you're reaching all these people, which is amazing, but you're not selling to them. You're not warming them up. You're not positioning yourself as an authority. So that is tip number 3. And my final tip for how to create, how to attract soulmate clients on social.
So good. Yeah, I love those steps. And I think that's just makes so much sense and is so accurate around what I've found works for me and what I know that you find works for all of your clients. I just want to clarify for stage 3 of the buyer's journey is that, really about making sure people actually know that you have a product or service that they can buy. Like, I think people often shy away from selling at all, and they think, oh, I just got to provide value 24/7 and I can't sell. But just that idea that, you can post that you've got this offering, because that's what's going to help people the most is when they do this with you. So you're actually helping people by selling.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you said that. Selling is such a service. I think people often feel like I'm annoying people by posting about my sales, or I'm posting too much sales content. And the thing is, you need to post about your sales content. People need to know that what your offering is and how they can work with you. And ultimately, you're going to help them. If you're a service-based business provider listening to this, then you are providing a service that's going to be really helpful for your clients and for your audience. And so we want to be able to speak about that. And as I mentioned, if we're speaking about Instagram specifically, and I like speaking to Instagram because most people who have a business are on Instagram, but of course this applies to every marketing channel that you have, is promoting your offer. Post a story about what your offering is, or who your ideal client is, and how you can help them. Post, polls, ask them questions, get into their DMs, sell to them in that way. It doesn't have to feel icky. And that's something that I work with my clients on, is selling in a way that feels really authentic and like you, because it doesn't need to feel like icky. You don't need to sound like a sales. What is that word? Like a car salesman.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
No, that's so good. And you're so right. And like, selling is like the ultimate. It's like it's the kind thing to do, because imagine if you just made someone problem aware and then made them realize that they can trust you, and then didn't give them an actual solution to the problem. That would be mean. So actually selling to them is being really kind, if that's going to help anyone's mindset. Because it can be tricky. And remembering too that, I think you mentioned this, I think on your podcast, is this idea that even not everyone is seeing your posts. Not everyone is then reading your posts. So you don't have to feel like you only have to post once in your lifetime around this one offer that you have, or around this one point that you have. Share it multiple times, because not everyone is always seeing your content. So don't be afraid to, I guess, put it out there and show up really regularly with all of these different stages.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, there was the rule of 7 in marketing. So they used to say, I say back in the day, but it was like 5 years ago. It wasn't that long ago, but marketing moves fast. So it was this idea that someone had to see something 7 times before they considered buying with you or bought from you. And now I read an article the other day that it was somewhere like 32 or something. So that is a lot of times you need to talk about something before you sell. And I mean, this is the whole conversation about selling as well, and how to convert those people. But also, just remind yourself that you might be sick of the sound of your own voice promoting yourself, but your audience definitely isn't. And in fact, it's really helpful to them.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing those tips. It's been some really great food as well. I'm going to recommend this podcast to a few of the especially newer business owners that I know that are really struggling to kind of think about what on earth they need to post on their socials. So feel free to recommend this to your friends too, if you're listening, and know that it's going to be a helpful one for others. So how can we get in touch with your world? If we're loving what we're hearing from you, Hazel, how can we learn more from you?
Thanks so much, Jacqui. So you can head over to my Instagram, hey.hazel, and that's Hazel with an AL. And I also have a free masterclass at the moment called How to Stand Out on Social Without Feeling Like You're Faking It, because I know that a lot of us feel, perhaps I don't want to dance on reels to promote my business, or I don't want to sound like a car salesman to make sales. So if you are feeling like that, and you want to find a way to market yourself that feels really good and feels really authentic and actually works, then you can head over to that. I'll send you through the link, and that can be in the show notes if you like, Jacqui. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, hey, this sounds awesome, I want to take my marketing to the next level, then I have a mastermind where applications are now open. It's called the Self Makers Mastermind, and it's an A to Z marketing mastermind focused on catapulting your visibility and helping you reach those 10K, consistent 10K months. So if you're interested in that, then send me through a DM.
Amazing. They sound like such wonderful offers. I'm sure they're going to be so helpful. Amazing. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us and your insights. I really appreciate your time, and I hope this has been helpful for those of you listening.
Thank you so much, Jacqui, and thank you to everybody for listening and taking the time to be here. I so appreciate it.
Hey, see ya. So thank you for joining us for that episode. I hope you found it as helpful as I found it. If you would like to listen to more, feel free to listen to all the other episodes we have going on in the Seriously in Business podcast. And if you're catching it on YouTube, there is a whole playlist of all the episodes of the guests that we've had on. And so thank you for listening. If you haven't yet, please hit subscribe, please like, please rate, please do all of the things that will help more wonderful people be helped by this podcast. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week for another episode. Bye.